Welcome and thank you for coming to the Edmonds Neighborhood Action Coalition and Sierra Club's 2018 candidate meet and greet. My name is Laura Johnson. I am with the Edmonds Neighborhood Action Coalition and I am today's moderator. A bit of housekeeping to start. The restrooms are located to my right, just through the hallway, and refreshments are on the table behind you. There's also water. Candidates, if you need it, there's a bottle of water below you. If you don't need it, don't miss it. I wish to thank Kathleen Sears, Marjorie Fields with the Sierra Club, as well as Denise Miller and Annabelle Hovig with Edmonds Neighborhood Action Coalition for their work in setting up today's event, as well as to the Edmonds Senior Center for hosting us today. Today we are holding today's meet and greet to give each of you a chance to know more about the candidate than simply what is printed in the voter's pamphlet. Today is an opportunity to hear directly from the candidates and later to ask follow-up questions one-on-one. To each citizen that came today to learn more about candidates, thank you for your civic engagement and for actively contributing to our democracy. In the words of Franklin D. Roosevelt, let us never forget that government is ourselves and not an alien power over us. The ultimate rulers of our democracy are not our presidents and senators and congressmen and government officials, but the voters of this country. Thank you to each of the candidates for giving your time to participate today. We recognize that as a candidate, you give up much of your life to run for office, and you spend a considerable amount of time, money, and energy to do so. It is important for each of us to respect candidates for stepping up to run, no matter our political persuasion. So, before we get started, the ground rules for speakers. Limit your speech to your own platform and refrain from commenting on your opponent's campaign. Each candidate will have 3 to 4 minutes to speak. We have a timekeeper. Marjorie Fields is down here to my left, located in the front row. She will signal when you have 1 minute remaining, again at 30 seconds, and then when your time is up. Following a previous experience moderating, I started honing my skills of taking the microphone away from speakers. It took a lot of time. So, my kids are here today. They'd like me to see me do just that, but I would really prefer not to. So please, pay attention to the timekeeper and stick to your allotted time. The order of today's speaking was determined by district, position, followed by alphabetical order. So the first candidate up to speak is going to be Adam Cornell, Snohomish County Prosecuting Attorney.
Thank you, Laura. Good afternoon, everybody. I am not going to have a hard time not talking about my candidate's platform because I am running unopposed as your Snohomish County Prosecuting Attorney. I'm incredibly grateful for that, and I do feel a pang of guilt standing before you without an opponent and knowing that come election day that I'm going to have a pretty good race, and I think I know the outcome. But I do think it's important to come out and be visible in the community, especially a position like county prosecutor, which is very important to not just criminal justice issues in our community, but a whole host of other issues. I ran and am running for county prosecutor to create safe and livable communities for everyone. But I'm also running for prosecutor to honor the sacrifices of so many in my life who gave me so much. I grew up in our state's foster care system, and I was really lucky to have a lot of really great people in my life. Foster parents, teachers, Boys and Girls Clubs. And because of that, I feel a sacred obligation to give back to our communities. I've been a deputy prosecuting attorney for 16 years. I've prosecuted all kinds of cases in our office. Most notably, I prosecuted the gunman in the Mukilteo mass shooting in 2016. And with that, the prosecution of that case, it really motivated for me the importance of stemming the tide of gun violence in our communities. And I've been a very outspoken supporter of I-1639 and speaking on behalf of gun violence prevention because I was there at that mass shooting, and I know what a semi-automatic rifle can do to 3 beautiful children. And so I'm going to continue my work in that regard as your county prosecutor, but I'm going to make sure that I enforce the laws fairly and firmly and give justice to everyone in our community. I think it's important that the county prosecutor make sure that we're reaching out to communities of color, that we're embracing everybody of all political stripes. This is a partisan office. I am a Democrat. I've been a lifelong Democrat, but the position itself does not lend itself to making decisions based on party affiliation, and I'll never do that as your county prosecutor. But I will say I'm a proud Democrat, and I'm proud to be endorsed by some of the folks here in this room, and I will be proud to do justice for all of you as your county prosecutor. My wife, Whitney, and I live in Edmonds. We have lived in Edmonds for about 17 years. We love it here. I grew up in Washington State, and again, I'm just really grateful to be able to give back to our community. I'm not going to be able to stay for the entire time because my wife and I actually delayed the first vacation that we will have since I became a candidate back in November. So I'm going to leave pretty soon after I step down. But you can reach me at my campaign email address, which is adam@voteadamcornell.com. If you want to interface with me and ask me questions about what other things I intend to do as county prosecutor. And because I have just appear to have a little bit more time, where's the person who's going to tell me to sit down? I have 1 minute left. Let me just tell you a little bit about what I hope to do as your county prosecutor. Because of my experience growing up in foster care and because of my experience as a United States Peace Corps volunteer where I worked in a South American prison working with incarcerated juveniles, because of my volunteer efforts with the Edmonds Community College Foundation and other local organizations, I really believe that we need to give progressive justice to the people of Snohomish County. And that means looking at alternatives to incarceration where appropriate, by expanding our mental health court, our drug court, our therapeutic alternatives to prosecution, but making sure we're keeping the community safe from very dangerous and violent people. So I hope to be a progressive prosecutor, and I look forward to meeting all of you either today or sometime in the next 4 years. And I do need your vote.
Next up, we have Snohomish County Public Utility District Position 1, Sid Logan.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me today. My name is Sid Logan. I'm the incumbent PUD Commissioner wanting to serve the remaining 2 years of the District 1 seat. I was appointed in March 2017 after a commissioner passed away. I was selected after the board interviewed 25 applicants. This year you will be voting to fill 2 of the 3 commission seats in the general election. This is very important. I want to explain this. The District 1 seat will be filled by a resident of Everett, North County, or Camano Island for the remaining term of 2 years. The District 2 seat is filled from Edmonds, Linwood, and the Mukilteo area and is for 6 years. All 3 seats serve the entire county, plus Camano Island. In the past 18 months, I've taken every opportunity to come up to speed on our utility, the regional issues, and the challenges and opportunities facing the electric industry. I have met with local, state, and federal leaders to discuss these issues. Our PUD is the 12th largest in the nation, and I serve all 350,000 electrical customers and 20,000 water customers. As your current PUD Commissioner, I'm focused on ensuring efficient use of your dollars so that reliable electricity and water are provided at the lowest cost, and I'm focused on preparing our PUD for the future challenges and opportunities. Family matters, and I'm a strong advocate for our financial assistance programs for low-income seniors and struggling families. I invite all of you here today to join my wife and me in participating in the PUD's Project Pride program. This is a program where you can donate money each month on your PUD bill to help others pay their utility bills. Our environmental legacy matters, and I promote investments in renewable energy, like PUD's community solar project planned for Arlington. Our groundbreaking, by the way, is tomorrow at 10 a.m. I support customers who install solar panels. I'm proud that our power is 98% carbon-free, and I'm pushing the utility to pursue electrification with the goal of reducing our region's carbon footprint. The automobile industry is betting big on electric cars, and I want to ensure that we have the infrastructure and the rates to support them. For example, time-of-day rates would empower residents to charge vehicles when PUD has available excess clean energy. I envision a future where customers are more informed and involved with how they consume, generate, and conserve energy. I am the most qualified candidate for the PUD District 1 seat because of my experience and my passion for this work. Family matters, the environment matters, and experience matters. I ask for your vote on November 6th. Thank you all for coming out today, and I hope that you'll come over to my table and visit with me. Look forward to it very much. Thank you.
All right, next we have Snohomish County Public Utility District Position 2, David Chan.
Good afternoon. 4 minutes, is that what it is? So I gotta get my Toastmaster skill up here right now. My name is David Chan, and my cousin Jackie Chan, I know you all heard of him. So if you guys don't vote for me, he's gonna come here to look at you guys. I'm also currently I'm a fire commissioner, District 1, now become a Regional Fire Authority. And we contract with, actually Edmonds contract with us. Don't worry, if anything happened, the station 17 is only a couple of blocks away. And except that we have a railroad there. I'm an MBA, a CPA. I know you said, oh God, this guy's boring now. I promise you I won't get into detail. I got all the charts and everything there to talk to you about. So in Fire District 1, what I call is called turnaround guy. During the recession time, I was the chair. So we work with the union and get us up trouble. And basically we slash 40% of the administration people by making deal with early retirement, that type of thing. So we eliminate 9%. So that's a lot of focus on, and that's my business too. I'm a business consultant. PUD is a really $600 million big corporation. It's a lot of complex issues in there. Seat probably can tell you that. There's a lot of numbers and reports. The coming Tuesday is about 300 pages of report. You have to sit through it. Luckily, I was trained to sit it through it quickly and find what's important. And a lot of contracts are really long-term contract with 80% of PUD with Moderator power, which they will control the pricing in there. So the most important part of the whole organization is what we call power control rates, the different, how much we buy the utility, buy the rates, and how much we're going to use it. And remember Enron? Enron's a situation that because the imbalance and they cheat, they by shorting the shutdown generator and just get an outage. And so we want to make sure that we are on top of that. I know a lot of people blaming Jeff Shillings and Ken Lake, but my question is that where were the board of Enron at that time? They did not did the super oversight. That's a responsibility. So if I were there, if I'm lucky enough, I would kind of set up a process. Right now they're doing that good, but we want a good process. I think Commissioner, my seat is a guardrail to make sure holding the management accountable. So what I'm going to do when I get elected, I got really quickly now. Number one is transparency. We're trying to go to all different areas of meeting and engaging to hold us accountable. Environment, renewable energy, and ensure PUD in compliance with the environmental law. Safe place to encourage innovation, diversity, and cooperation. And also the senior citizen and low-income resident will aggressively getting grant and other to help our fellow citizens. Please come by and talk to us. I promise you don't lay number, I won't talk number, just talk philosophy. All right, thank you very much.
Next, we have Snohomish County Public Utility District Position 2, Rebecca Wolf.
Like all good teachers, I have props, like all other good teachers. One second. Did she handle it? So, I am Rebecca Wolf, and I am running for the second seat, District 2 in the PUD. Commissioner Logan talked about the PUD, the territory, and some other information. And Mr. Chan talked about the money, the $600 million budget. The role of a commissioner is to make policy decisions and study and know the budgets, but we don't micromanage the budget, but we do have to know about it and we have to be responsible. I wanted to show you 5 of my reasons for running for this office. These are my grandchildren. They're all teenagers, and I want to help ensure a better future for them. I've always worked for our natural resources to protect them, and I've been on the National Sierra Club Public Lands team for quite a while, still am. And so I want to make sure that energy and water and air are protected. And so this has to do with our policies. Is this thing in my way? I want to talk about the fact that it is your public utility district, yours. It is not owned, it's not a for-profit corporation. It is a not-for-profit corporation, and you are the owners. And we should be accountable in our PUD, and it is you, the people, we the people who have to hold them accountable. The lack of accountability has really hurt us. We have wasted, just on the hydro projects alone, I think over $70 million. We spent $10 million just researching the Sunset Falls project. That was $10 million, which has been dropped, and many of us are thankful for that. But now they're taking credit after doing everything possible to get that hydro project in. Now they're taking credit for having dropped it. It's like setting your house on fire and then putting it out and taking credit for setting your house. Yeah, it really is. And then $60 million on Hancock and Callaghan dams. A couple of months after they said we don't need any more hydropower, they turned on 2 new low-power hydro dams for a maximum of 12 megawatts of power, which is not much. So that's $70 million right there. Just think of what $70 million can do to lower our rates. We have to stop wasting money so that we can invest in good, clean energy like solar, like energy efficiency, which is what the Northwest Power and Conservation Council tells us is the most important thing that we can do from now through 2035. So we save money, we save energy. We save energy, we save money. These would be high priorities for me. There have been a series of scandals in the PUD over the years, and I agree with Mr. Chan. We have to make sure that these do not keep happening, because, for instance, there was a $5 million wrongful termination suit, and instead of settling for much, much less money, the PUD paid $5 million. So we've got to save money. Finally, I just want to mention that what we do in this election really matters for our children. And I have so many people to thank for listening to our message and for realizing that our children, our future, need to be protected just like our natural resources. And we have to have good energy policies going forward. And I hope you will help me. I need your vote. I need your help. And please come over and see some of our materials. Thank you.
That Mary Rollins, who is running for Snohomish County Public Utility District number 1, is on a college tour with her daughter. So, just reading the note. Next up, we have the 21st Legislative District Senate seat. Marco Elias and Jessica Adji is going to speak on his behalf. She is the campaign manager, giving a statement on behalf of the candidate. We had a prior engagement. Thank you.
Jessica. I am Senator Marco Elias' campaign manager. Please go easy on me today. The senator does send his regrets for not being here. He is in Portland with family visiting his grandfather, who is unfortunately in the hospital as of very recently. And I know that he'd want me to extend our gratitude to the Edmonds Neighborhood Action Coalition and the Snohomish County Sierra Club for hosting today's amazing forum, and all of you for being here. So I'd like to share his statement on his behalf. Marco Elias is honored to serve as your senator and champion policies that put people first. Born and raised locally, he understands the challenges facing middle-class families because he grew up in one. In Olympia, he has supported essential investments in jobs, transportation, housing, and mental health, while maintaining reserves and cutting property taxes, and immediate relief for families. Committed to our local values, he has fought to make important progress on responsible gun reform, pass a groundbreaking student loan bill of rights, and finally end the discriminatory and deeply dangerous practice of conversion therapy in Washington State. Committed to our local values, he is grateful for endorsements from the Washington Education Association, Washington Conservation Voters, Equal Rights Washington, Governor Jay Inslee, every mayor in his home district, and many more community organizations and leaders. Senator Elias is proud to represent a new generation of Democrats and political leaders who are socially progressive, supportive of small business, and unafraid to stand up to special interests. He would be honored to earn your continued support. Thank you.
Next up, 21st Legislative District Senate seat, Mario Lotmore.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Mario Lotmore, running for State Senate for the 21st District. I'd like to first thank the Edmonds Neighborhood Action Coalition for inviting me here to speak with everyone, and also the Sierra Club. Thank you. So a little bit about myself. I'm original. By the way, I hate barriers. What about you guys? Right? I mean, we need to work together as a team, so I don't want this in front of us. So, but a little bit about myself. I'm originally from the Bahamas. The Bahamas is an independent nation. We're not a protectorate of the United States. I've called the United States home for about 20 plus years, 22 years. I've lived in every region of the United States. I've experienced very different cultures, but they all had one thing in common. They all want to do better, right? Everywhere we are, we want to do better. We care about our families. We care about what we want to do, what we want to be in life, right? We want to have a safe environment. We also want to have a clean environment. And that's what I'm about. All right, a little bit about my family. My mom, she was a JFK Democrat, okay? And she also was a special education educator. She participated, she actually helped set up the Special Olympics in the Bahamas, all right? And Bahamas didn't have that much money, so she really had to hustle to get money for them, right? Also, my dad, she met my dad. He was a local Bahamian entertainer. So I came from a very diverse background, if you can think about it, okay? Here's my mom, special education educator, then worked at the University of the Bahamas teaching teachers how to teach special education. And then she introduced me to special eds and volunteering for special needs kids and also the Special Olympics. And here was my dad, this entertainer, and for the first 4 or 5 years of my life, I lived out of a hotel. And I thought that was normal, okay? So it was just very interesting. But they instilled in me education and never giving up. I've climbed up the socioeconomic ladder, and I could be an example of what it is, but hard work and just bridging coalitions and making friends to just get what you need and get what you want and to do better for yourself. All right? So my platform, right now we're facing an opioid epidemic in our community. I'm looking at focusing on the supply. Okay? We can throw money and money and money at this opioid issue, but if we keep on growing and growing the amount of people that are affected by opioids, then it's never going to resolve itself. So first thing, prevention, right? So first thing I would say is let's end doctor shopping. We have a PMP program that the governor, I believe, I think Strong's also involved in that as well, but the PMP program where the Attorney General is actually advocated for, and so is Jay Inslee. I think it's a great idea, but the issue is We don't implement the PMP after the prescription is issued. We implement it before the prescription is issued. All right? So right at the source. So prevent people from getting the drugs to begin with. 2, we need to look at safe disposal options within homes. Fortunately, a lot of kids, especially, they get opioids from their parents or grandparents. 3rd, we need to enforce the Substance Homicide Act. We need to hold drug dealers accountable. 5, I'm also advocating that we adopt a school. Elected officials work directly with the parent-teachers associations and also student councils. Next, I believe in accountability. Okay, I'm an industrial engineer. I have a Six Sigma lean background, and so I believe that we should go ahead and consolidate agencies, and that's going to make our government work smarter, not harder. That money is going to go for looking for fixed. I want a fixed property tax rate for seniors. I want to close the funding gap for the McCleary decision for special education. Got to stop. Okay. And thirdly, I'll just end my last point is I want to retain our global competitiveness. And I'm a pro-union guy. Go to my website, www.mariolotmore.com, and right over there, I can answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, next up, 21st Legislative District House Representative, position number 1, Strom Peterson.
Thank you, Annabelle. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Thank you to ENAC. I think it's not lost that your middle name is Neighborhood Action, and if you haven't seen what they've done since they've formed, they really are an action-oriented group. So I would encourage everybody to talk to them as well as us candidates, but to really find out what you might be able to do in your communities and in your neighborhood to help get the vote out, to help inform voters and your neighbors about what's happening, not only here in the 21st District or the 32nd, but really around the country and around the world. So thank you for that, and of course thank you to the Sierra Club as well. Yes, my name is Strom Peterson. I am your current State House Representative in the 21st District. I just finished my 2nd term, so I've been down in Olympia for 4 years. Before that, I was on the Edmonds City Council. This is a fantastic job. I think that this level of government is really an area where we can make a true impact on our communities. I think we can make a real impact on things that are happening globally as well. I've been very fortunate in my time in Olympia to be vice chair on the Environment Committee. So we've really been working hard on a lot of issues around climate change, around water quality. This is always a great venue because I can just look out the window and remind myself of why I am happy to be on the Environment Committee, because Puget Sound is really the lifeblood not only of the 21st District, but really of Western Washington, and is symbolic of what's really happening globally with climate change. So I'm excited to get back down to Olympia and really take on greenhouse gas emissions and work hard to make sure that we're protecting Puget Sound, that we're protecting salmon and orcas, and working with all of our partners, our tribal partners and commercial fishermen, everybody that relies on this incredible resource. This is also a great place to have a forum like this because I'm also vice chair on the Capital Budget Committee. And we make some pretty profound investments across the state as well as in our communities. We've given millions of dollars to this project, to the Senior Center project, soon to be the Edmonds Community Center. Rose Campbell's not here to correct me. Okay. And thanks to Senator Chase for her help in the Senate, Marco as well. But we've also invested $1 billion in school construction. We heard a lot about the McCleary funding decision on schools, but we're also making sure that we're investing in the physical plants. We hear a lot about our mental health crisis, which is absolutely true across the state. We're making record investments in supportive services, and this is again on the capital budget, so over $100 million in housing across the state, housing for veterans and seniors and homeless youth. So I've been very proud to be a part of that. And finally, I'd like to thank Mario for bringing up the opioid crisis. That's something that I've been a leader on down in Olympia. My family has experienced 2 overdose deaths in recent years. So I, like many other people across the state and across the country, face this reality very personally. We had 72,000 opioid deaths last year in this country. So we passed this year, we passed the first in the nation Drug Take Back Act that pharmaceutical companies have to pay for. So when you're out at the grocery store, at the pharmacy, keep an eye out for little drug safe kiosks, and please get those drugs, expired medication, unused medication, whatever it is, out of your homes and into these safe disposal boxes where they can be disposed of safely. That was a very proud moment. Thanks again. I would love to talk to you more about any issues that you're concerned about, either here in the 21st or around the state. And thank you.
Unfortunately, we were not able to make contact with the second candidate for the 21st Legislative District, so we will move on. 21st Legislative District, House Representative position number 2, Petra Vijaya.
Hello, my name is Petra Vijaya, and I am running for your state representative. I grew up in a communist country where I did not have the rights or freedoms we enjoy here. My husband and I moved to Washington State, to the United States in 1995, and to Washington State a year later. We started our life here with practically nothing, but with a lot of hard work, tight budgeting, and faith, we were able to make our own ways to be self-sufficient. Since our move to Washington State, we've seen a government that focuses more on their ideology rather than the needs and betterment of our residents. This current path that our state is on is reminiscent of what I came from and is very concerning. As families and individuals, we are overtaxed at every turn. Skyrocketing property taxes, sales taxes, and gas taxes, that is the 3rd highest in the country, are just a few examples. Now, our state was an income tax that was voted down 9 times, a mileage tax, a carbon tax that will increase gas and home heating prices significantly. We are paying hundreds more for car tax, which is going to Sound Transit $54 billion rail project that is run by an unaccountable board, already $400 million over budget on SD3 alone. I will advocate for a transparent, elected Sound Transit board that is held accountable to the taxpayer and their spending. We are now facing the prospect of tolls on the Snohomish County I-5 HOV lanes and Highway 2 trestle. This is a direct attack on the worker traveling to job centers. It taxes roads we've already paid for, increases congestions on highways, and spills the overflow traffic on streets not intended for high use. I will be your voice against these taxes and to work to lower existing taxes by cutting waste, shrinking government, holding spending accountable, and to look for realistic transportation solutions. Opioid abuse, along with our transient population, are overwhelming to our communities and is growing daily. My plan to combat the opioid epidemic consists of 8 related tools: prevention and education, to make people aware of the opioids use risks by preventing education in doctor offices, schools, churches, and in home, as well looking into alternatives in painkillers. Treatment. With limited financial resources, our focus is to be on-demand treatment for those wanting to recover from addiction. Get these people back into productive society, and the injection sites are not the solution. Law enforcement utilizes the successful Stay Out of Designated Areas program to keep addicts and nuisance cases away from business centers. To enable law enforcement with necessary tools to remove criminal addicts not wanting treatment from communities and neighborhoods. Focus on how drugs are coming here and take measures to stop it. Much of our homeless problem comes from a transient population moving up from Seattle, King County, and even out of state. Many of these transients also are tied to the opioid problem. For those wanting, so again, if you need more information, I'll be at the table. And again, I am Petra, and I ask for your vote. Thank you so much.
The next 21st Legislative District House Representative, position number 2, Lillian Ortiz Self. Campaign Manager, Jessica Aji, will be giving a statement on behalf of the candidate who had a prior engagement. Hello again. It's so nice to see you all.
So, like was said, I'm still Jessica. I am also the campaign manager for Representative Lillian Ortiz Self. And she sends her regrets for not being here. She is finishing up a trip to Puerto Rico, where she is visiting her father, who has Alzheimer's, and also is participating in some really important service projects down there with her family. And she'll be back later this week. And I am very honored to be here on her behalf and share a couple of words from her. And I know that she would also want me to extend her gratitude to our amazing hosts for the day, and also everyone for coming and taking time out of your Saturday to be here. So as an educator, Lillian has remained focused on fully funding schools and promoting student mental health, recognizing that we have a crippling mental health crisis among our children. Additionally, she has fought to improve access to career opportunities and address the comprehensive needs of our families. She has also helped pass a property tax cut for homeowners, fought for local transportation investments here at home, and continue to provide support for small businesses while advocating for living wage jobs. Currently a school counselor in the Everett School District, Lillian lives in Mukilteo and has 3 children who have all grown up in the Mukilteo School District. She is proud to serve as your current state representative in the 21st District and would be honored to earn your continued support. If you'd like to learn more about her campaign or volunteer, you can meet me at our table in the back. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move on to the 32nd Legislative District Senate seat, and we have Marilyn Chase.
Thank you very much. As I was sitting here, I was trying to think, what could I tell you that you don't know about me already? So I will tell you something I'll bet you don't know. When I was in the 7th grade, I wanted to run for student body president, and I was told I couldn't because I was a girl. Yeah. So fast forward all those years, and when the vacancy occurred in 2001, I said, oh, I can run for that. And I was proud to be selected by my precinct committee officers, because at the time I was a precinct committee officer, to represent the district. And I have enjoyed every minute, and I thank you very much for all of your confidence in my work. Let me tell you some of the things I'm working on, just because when you've been there 17 years, you have a lot of things you work on. I am an environmentalist. I work on the Columbia River Treaty. I'd be happy to discuss that with anybody that wants to know something about it, because it is really important for us. And I've worked on a lot of environmental issues. I thank the Sierra Club for all of the work that they have been doing all of these years to try to protect our environment. It's very important. My passion is to work on economic development issues, and I'm proud to be the chair of the Economic Development and International Trade Committee in the Senate. And after 5 years of Republican leadership on the committee, we're doing things that are totally different. One of the things that we try to address is the inequality of income and wealth. and the ongoing continuation and the worsening situation of the distribution of income and wealth in our communities. We simply are we are struggling, let's put it that way. We are struggling with trying to make ends meet. It's in every single community. And one of the things that we also have trouble with is that we have the most regressive tax structure in the entire United States. We are number one, right? We always want to be number one in everything. But we are number one in unfairness. And I work on that. I have made enemies. I'm proud to say that I have made enemies, but I absolutely believe that these are the very important seminal issues of our time. We simply have to do this. I also work in the committee on the digitalization of the economy. We need to be aware that by 2020, some of the experts are saying that over 50% of our people will be telecommuting. And how does that work? Because you can work on the internet. You can work through fiber, and you can telecommute. I was shocked to find out how many people already telecommute. But what happens when we do that is those people who do not have access to broadband, and that would be half of the state, do not have a place in the economy of the future. We need to work on that. Healthcare, we need single payer. I'm a sponsor of all of the healthcare bills, but I'm the prime sponsor of the universal healthcare bill in the Senate. We're going to come back again on that. Housing security. We need to have a Department of Housing in this state because we have too many people. We have 40,000 kids in our public education system who are homeless. 40,000. That's not acceptable because there's also a family involved in that. We need a state economic growth strategy. We need to figure out what do we need to do to grow our economy. We don't have a growth strategy. We're working on that too. So I look forward to discussing any of these issues that you might have or some issue that I haven't been able to address. I want to say that the down payment on McCleary was just that. And I want the teachers in Edmonds to know that I know you do not have enough money to be able to sustain the anyway, come see me and talk to me.
Next up, we have 32nd Legislative District Senate seat, Jesse Salomon.
So, my name is Jesse Salomon. I'm running for the State Senate, 32nd District. I'm a Democrat. I've worked as a public defender for 10 years, and I've also been on the Shoreline City Council for almost 7 years now, where I've been elected by my colleagues to serve in a leadership position as deputy mayor. I want to tell you a little bit about my experience as a public defender, and that's going to tie into why I'm running here today. For 10 years, I represented clients who couldn't afford their own attorneys and were charged with a crime. Many, if not most, were homeless, struggled with long-term drug addictions, mental health issues. Many had been through foster care, and many had not had a fair start in life. Many started kindergarten behind and remained behind. While I did my best to help them, a lot of them came back as repeat clients, and I decided that we need to look at the root cause of that. I would like to support early childhood education, and I will get into that in a moment. As a council member, sort of my evening job, we worked on things like affordable housing, and I'm proud to say that some of the policies that I sponsored and helped pass have created hundreds of affordable housing units in Shoreline. I've worked really hard with my colleagues on the City Council for efficient transit. We're having 2 light rail stations come to Shoreline. We have Highway 522, which runs all the way from Kirkland and Bothell and brings traffic into North Seattle. Well, we got bus rapid transit funded, so we're going to be siphoning off some of that traffic using mass transit to bring those people to light rail stations and get them off the roads. That's going to help them get to work faster, and that's going to help alleviate traffic. So I think that's taking what we have in our mass transit plans and making it work and for a positive result. I'm a big environmentalist, so something that we've done on the Shoreline City Council. We have a river, not quite a river, but Bowen Creek, and it had been dammed to serve a golf course, to get water to the golf course, serve as a reservoir. And we've been dredging it to the tune of $300,000 a year. And this was a salmon stream, and so I said, why are we doing this? I sponsored an ordinance to remove the dam, and now we're going to be increasing salmon habitat and saving money. So that's a win-win. That's what I'll be looking for, especially as climate change hits. It's going to be affecting salmon in a negative way. So we need to find solutions to that. Safety and inclusion. We declared Shoreline as a safe and inclusive city. Our police are not allowed to ask immigration status. And the reason we did that, and you know, I spoke with our police chief about it, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think he agreed it makes sense. We want to make sure that, let's say there's an immigrant woman who is being trafficked. We want them to be able to call the police and get service and not worry about what's going to happen to them. Are they going to get deported? We need everybody to access the protection of police in our community. I would bring local government experience to Olympia, and I think why that's important is because if you're just in Olympia without any prior experience, you're sending grants, maybe $100 million here, $100 million there. You've never actually figured out how government does projects, puts rubber to the road, and that's something that I've done. So early education is a priority for me in the legislature. I'm running out of time here. That's why I've been endorsed by our state representative, long time in this district, Ruth Katie. I've also been endorsed by our Democratic state representative who's here today, Cindy Rio. I appreciate that, so we can bring some constructive leadership to the Senate. Thank you.
Next up, 32nd Legislative District House Representative, Position 1, Dio Busigas.
I think you did a pretty good job with my last name, right? Yeah. All right, hello there, Edmonds. How are we all doing today? Well, you know, I think the weather's pretty nice outside. What about you? Cloudy, yes, but to me that's just another beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, so you're probably wondering, gosh, who's that good-looking young Republican in the pamphlet? Well, folks, here I am. So my name, as aforementioned, is Deodato Busigas, but please call me Dio. I'm a graduate of the University of Washington. I triple majored in political science, history, and journalism. So I guess you could say I majored in fake news. Yikes. Some of you got it. All right, so let's talk about what I believe. I would describe my political beliefs as business-friendly, yet also environmentally friendly. Now, as a Republican, you're probably thinking, gosh, I mean, how can you be environmentally friendly yet business-friendly? Well, the truth is, back in the 60s and 70s, the environment used to be a pretty bipartisan issue. You had governors in the state of Oregon, the state of Washington, Republicans and Democrats, very environmentally friendly. Now, if I have the opportunity to get to Olympia, and you know the election's on November 6th, which just so happens to be my birthday, you know what I would do is push legislation that is both business friendly yet environmentally friendly, and I believe we can do so in a bipartisan way, just like we used to. You know, the unfortunate thing with the environment is that it's become pretty partisan. And I think that if we can nurture a sort of environment, so to speak, that is conducive to these talks, to these discussions, these issues about the environment, then we can get something done in Olympia without having it be all partisan. And so, I'm all the way in the corner over there. So near Jesse Salomon's table. So if you would like to talk to me about any of the issues that you have in mind, whether it be taxes, whether it be the environment, please don't hesitate to come on by, because I definitely love to talk with people. So thank you once again to ENAC and Sierra Club for hosting today's event, and I hope to talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Next up, 32nd Legislative District, House Representative, Position 1, Cindy Rio.
Hi everyone, Cindy Rio, State Representative. I've been privileged to have served for, I'm not there. Oh, thank you. Actually, I like that, thank you. I didn't bring my own sign. I really appreciate you being prepared. I've had the privilege of serving as your representative for the last 8 years, and I am going back for 2 more years, so I hope you will vote for me. I am serving now as the Community Development, Housing, and Tribal Affairs Committee Chair in the House. And until recently, for the last 4 years, I served as the Members of Color Caucus Chair. And the good news is, out of the 50 members, we had 11 members of color, which is a little more representative of the population. The good news was that we got to work twice as hard, because we, of course, had to represent all our constituents well, but also we were, I guess, the de facto representatives of all the immigrants, communities of color that felt more comfortable talking to us, and we actually literally took on that task of championing causes and issues and problems that did not have natural advocates, so we were kept quite busy. For instance, earlier this year in January, you read in the Seattle Times that the Department of Licensing was giving out information to ICE, and we suspected that they were probably using them to basically have them brought in and basically have them be deported. And so we asked, as a caucus, and with the support of the House Democrats, all 50 of us thought that was unconscionable, and so we led the way in making sure that the governor's office did something about it. And the good thing is they've been very responsive. Department of Licensing now has a different director, and not only that, every other department is very conscious now that not only for immigrants or people who could be targeted, but also for cybersecurity, for privacy reasons, that they need to take a look at not only business as usual or what their jobs are correctly being done, but also the bigger picture of what is good for the community. And so I'm happy to report that's happening. Another thing that we did this past year was that we passed the capital budget. It was, last year was the year that we could not pass it for the first time in our history. And Representative Strom, who's a vice chair, and I serve on that committee for capital budget, very frustrating that we could not pass it. This year we did. We expanded it because a lot of projects that were worthy needed to actually have more funding because of the cost of construction has gone up quite a bit. We also did a lot of good things, such as pass, I believe, 7 housing bills that actually will hopefully help eventually, not right away, but hopefully soon, help address the homelessness as well as increase the affordable housing construction. And I am personally working on affordable housing ownership and access to that. So I hope you will vote for me again. Thank you so much.
Last, we have 32nd Legislative District, House Representative Position 2, Lauren Davis. Strom Peterson will be giving a statement on behalf of Lauren, who had a prior engagement.
Thank you for Lauren. Just the quick story, she let me know today, somebody else was going to read this. She said, well, you can just, since I'm a millennial, maybe it's best if you read it off of your phone. And I said, well, since I'm not, maybe I should just print it out. I didn't have to print out the super large font. Good afternoon, everyone. I regret that I am out of state this weekend and cannot be there in person. Thank you for the opportunity to share a few words. I am so grateful to the Edmonds community for the tremendous support in the primary election. For those of you I haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'll introduce myself quickly. I am a proud product of our state's public school system and am fervently committed to ensuring that every child has access to the extraordinary public education that I had. I began my career teaching Head Start preschool at a transitional housing facility. After college, I worked in international development as a Fulbright scholar in West Africa, researching education reform as a consultant on the Gates Foundation's Global Development Team. In Ghana, I started a small business providing job training for adolescent girls that's still running today. More recently, I helped to found 2 nonprofits, one dedicated to suicide prevention and the other to mental health and addiction recovery. I currently serve as the founding executive director of the Washington State Recovery Alliance, working to transform our broken behavioral health system and eradicate societal prejudice associated with mental illness and addiction. I fell into politics quite by accident, driven by passion and pain, after nearly losing my best friend Ricky to overdose and suicide. I championed 2016's Ricky's Law, one of the largest investments in addiction treatment in state history. My motivation to run is derived from a desire to make transformative and lasting change in the many areas in which our state is in crisis. We need to address our homelessness and housing crises with investments in family homelessness prevention, increasing access to affordable housing, and investing in supportive housing for our neighbors living with behavioral health challenges. We need to fully fund K-12 education, particularly special education, while expanding access to high-quality early learning and affordable higher ed. We must make pioneering investments to address the opioid crisis, including treatment on demand and access to recovery supports like housing, employment, and peer support that help people stay in long-term recovery. We need to take bold action on gun violence prevention, including ensuring that folks experiencing mental health crises do not have access to firearms. I am proud to have earned the endorsement of the Everett Herald, the Seattle Times, the Stranger, the State Labor Council, NARAL Pro-Choice, the Alliance for Gun Responsibility, the Washington Education Association, and many other progressive groups. I hope to lead on these and many other issues, and especially look forward to learning about the issues on your minds and hearts. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to earn your support in the general election.
All right, so that was the last of our candidates speaking. Thank you to each of the candidates that participated today. To our attendees, after the candidates have had a moment to get to their respective tables, it is your opportunity to ask all of those pressing questions one-on-one. However, please be considerate of others waiting to ask questions as well. We also have a voter registration table that is being staffed by my lovely daughter, I believe, Sierra, who is a brand new voter herself, and my son, Cade, who will be a voter in 2024. So if you need to register to vote, renew your registration, or wish to take a form for a friend, please visit the table located in the back. At the entry is the ENAC table. Finally, thank you for attending, and please give a round of applause for each of our candidates.